Howdy again, this is Mr. Pete, your interweb shop teacher, and this is episode number 81 of my What Is It series, and I'm doing something a little differently here because I'm kind of discontinuing this series, but I have a few items left, but I'm going to give you a 2-for-1 here. That is, I'm going to ask you the question to identify these 4 tools here, and then in the second half, it'll be divided into 2 parts. The second half, I will disclose the answers to what these tools are. Now there's a couple here that I covered very recently, so it may be a repeat, but let's go through this experiment and we'll see if it works. Now why do I not like to do it the way I'm going to do it all in one? Because there are some tools, for instance, I've got a whole box of tools here that I want to run through this series that I do not know what they are. So I cannot give you the answer. So I often rely on viewers to tell me what something is for that follow-up video. I hope you understand what I'm getting at here. So let's get started real quickly on the first part, and then I'll give you the answer for what these items are. Okay, this is item 1, very rusty, very old. It's probably about 100 years old. All cast iron except for the screw. Quite intricate. Most of you mechanically minded guys will know what this is. It has no value at all. I bought it for nothing. Well, I didn't pay for it. It just came in a box of junk. But we have here a crank and a handle, and we got bevel gears, and as I crank it, you can see that the threaded rod with this hook on it moves in and out. And here we have 2 arms that can be adjusted and spread, just like a human's arms almost. And there's hooks on these as well. Neat looking castings. I hope that Clark is watching this. An Acme thread here, so you could exert quite a bit of effort into what this is used for. So I'll tell you in a few minutes, then it will seem pretty obvious to you. It is something that would not be used anymore, although there is probably a much more modern tool used that has the same principle and the same use, but I don't have one of those to show you, needless to say. So what is number 1? You can put it in the comments, but it probably doesn't make any sense because I'm going to give you the answer presently. Item 2 is a little mirror. I had one much larger than this. All you Boy Scouts will know what this is. I covered up all of the graphics on the back side. There's a peephole here. Is this for your wife to put mascara on or eyeshadow or whatever women use on their eyes? This is not a high quality piece. This appears to be plastic. It's very scratched up. I've seen much better ones. What is item 2 used for? I expect most people will know. I only acquired this SnapOn tool very recently, a week ago in fact, I think. It's a 1/2-inch drive here and 1/2 inch here, and we got a little switch right here. There's a number on here, but what is the purpose of this? Probably fairly expensive in that it's a Snap-on. I think you can buy cheaper versions of this at the great freight store. And finally, most people already, I knew what this was. I always wanted one, and now I finally have one, that I'm too old to actually use it. So what is this Craftsman item used for? Rather interesting bend on the end, and it's fairly sharp right here, and it's just one of the regular screwdriver handles. So what is number 4? Alright, stand by for part 2. Okay, here's item 1. I hope you got this. This is an antique tire spreader that would have been used either by tire shops, or maybe if you had a Model T, you carried one of these with you along with a jack and patches and all of that, but it allowed you to spread the tire to repair the inside or the casing of the tire, as far as I understand. And large tire stores, tire shops would have a similar tool, I think, but it's probably mechanical rather than crank, so that they can open up and put patches on the inside of a tire, if in fact they still do that. I'm not sure, because I don't think radial tires are repaired the way they did the old bias ply tire. So that's what this is. Raise your hand if you knew that. Oh man, I saw a lot of hands go up. Item 3 is a Snap-on 67C, and it is nothing more than a little converter that will allow you to take a breaker bar and turn it into a ratchet. Well, I can't get that in there because it's all rusty. So anyway, that's what it's for, even though I'm not all the way in. So now that now this breaker bar is a ratchet. But you know what somebody told me? I was going to sell this or get rid of it, but they said use this on your lawnmower with an electric drill to start the lawnmower if you have trouble, if you have an old lawnmower that is hard to start. And I have done that in the past, but not with one of these, and there was always a problem when the engine started of getting this fork that I made off of the cup starter. But this would essentially be an overrunning clutch in that application, so that's a pretty neat idea. The problem is that Toro mower that my sister gave me always starts on the first pull, but most of my mowers did not over the years. And last, and probably least, is number 4, the Craftsman Tool, and this is a tool used to remove cotter keys or cotter pins. Think of the front axle hub nut on a Chevy or a Ford years ago, and this was could be used to remove that pesky cotter key, which was always troublesome. So you could hook it in the end and then pull it out of there. I wish I would have had one of these a million times, and now I do. But since I probably will never do any automotive work again, this is an excellent back scratcher. A little bit sharp, and don't catch that on a mole or a wart, or it'll rip it off, or it'll rip your shirt, but boy does it feel good. And it's just the right length, not one of those big long bamboo things that I usually use. So that's what I'm going to use it for. This will go right next to my remote control. All right, did you get any of these right, or did you get them all correct? Anyway, did you like the new format? You could put that, if you want, in the comments. I do not answer comments in this series, but I do read them. So this is Mr. Pete saying so long for now.